Sunday morning. The church was filled to capacity. Not for music, not for performance, but for judgment. The former choir members stood in front. No designer competition, no prideful poses, just plain uniforms and anxious hearts. Michael Adebayo held the list. Beside him, Pastor Ezekiel sat quietly. "This is not about who sings best," Michael said. "It's about who is ready to stand as an example." Silence swallowed the room. He began calling names. Amara accepted. A soft gasp. Tears filled her eyes, not of pride, but relief. Vivian. Pause. The entire church leaned forward. Rejected. A louder reaction. Vivian froze. "What?" she whispered. Michael continued. Tonia accepted. Now the room was confused. Tonia? Of all people? She stepped forward slowly, her face no longer proud, but humbled. More names followed. Some strong voices were removed. Some quiet, unnoticed members were accepted. The pattern was clear. It wasn't talent. It was transformation. Vivian couldn't hold it in. "This is unfair," she shouted, stepping forward. "I am one of the best singers in this church." No one denied that. Michael replied calmly. "Then why am I rejected?" she demanded. The church grew tense again. Michael looked at her carefully. "Because you never stopped competing, even when no one was competing with you anymore." That hit hard. Vivian's eyes filled with tears. "I changed," she whispered. Michael shook his head slightly. "You adjusted. You didn't surrender." Silence. Deep. Uncomfortable. Just when it seemed everything was settled, Pastor Ezekiel stood up. "I have something to say." The entire church went still. Even Michael stepped back. The pastor walked slowly to the front, holding a small envelope. "For months, we have dealt with the visible problems," he said. But the real issue was deeper. He opened the envelope. Inside were printed photos. Old ones. Recent ones. Screenshots. Murmurs spread. "I hired someone," the pastor continued, "to observe everything quietly." The choir members looked at each other in confusion. "Not just the choir," he added. "The entire service department." Shock rippled across the room. Ushers. Media team. Protocol. Workers. Everyone froze. The pastor raised one photo. An usher, ignoring a poorly dressed visitor. Another photo. A media team member mocking someone behind their back. Another. Choir members laughing at someone who sang off-key. The room grew heavy. "This was never just a choir problem," the pastor said. "It was a heart problem across leadership." Silence. No one could defend themselves. "We became performers," he continued. "We became competitors. We became judges." His voice softened. "And we forgot. We are servants." Then came the deepest twist. The pastor looked at the choir. "Do you know why I allowed the choir to go through all this?" No one answered. "Because people are watching you more than they listen to you." He paused. "Last month, a young girl stopped coming to this church." The room went still. She said, "If that is what church people are like, I don't want God." A pin could drop. Tears began to form across the room. "She didn't leave because of doctrine," the pastor said. "She left because of behavior." Michael stepped forward again, but this time softer. "This altar is not a stage," he said. "It is a responsibility." He looked at those accepted. "You are not the best singers." He turned to those rejected. "And you are not the worst people." Then he said the line that changed everything. "Everyone here is being watched, and someone is learning God through you." Vivian broke down completely, not out of anger, but realization. "I didn't know," she cried. "I thought it was just choir." Amara walked over slowly and hugged her. No competition. No prive. Just understanding. Tonia wiped her eyes quietly. Even the media team and ushers stood in silence, convicted. The pastor made one final announcement. "From today, Every department will undergo the same process. Gasps. No one is above accountability. Then he added, because this is not just service. He looked around the entire church. It is a calling. Weeks later, the choir stood again. Simpler, humbler, stronger. No competition. No hidden battles. When they sang this time, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in the congregation, people felt it. Not just music, but meaning.